Good morning, friends. Today we will see the concept of transformation of graphs. There was another lecture with titled Usage of IITJEE Maths in Technology or in Electronics Engineering or in Electrical Engineering. In that particular lecture, we had seen that most of the times the current or the voltage which are flowing in the circuit, they are usually in mathematical form. They are usually complex versions of sin x or cos x or e power x or log x, etc., etc. Different types of mathematical functions. So let's take a basic illustration. Let's say we have an electrical circuit and the current that is going inside this electrical circuit is of sin x form. And the output that we get from this circuit comes out to be cos x. Now please check what has happened here. The function that went inside this box was y equal to sin x, and the function which came out of this electrical circuit is y equal to cos x. That means this function y equal to sin x got transformed, transformation of graphs got transformed as y equal to cos x. If we want to study this electrical circuit, which is actually made up of wires and resistors and capacitors and inductors and various other electrical components, the circuit is made up of many wires and electrical components, but mathematically what the circuit is doing is it is transforming sin x by replacing x by pi by 2 minus x. If in sin x, if x is replaced by pi by 2 minus x, then this function becomes cos x. Please understand. So this is how this wave function, this is how this mathematical function is transformed. Mathematically, it is transformed as by replacing x by pi by 2 minus x. But practically, in order to study this transformation, this behavior of this sin x, it is very important to understand and study the overall behavior of such kind of functions for various scientific purposes, for various electrical engineering and mechanical engineering and civil engineering and aerodynamic engineering purposes. It is very important to understand and study the overall behavior of such kind of functions. What happens in sin x when x is replaced by pi by 2 minus x? What happens to sin x when x is replaced by mod of x? What happens to sin x when whole thing is taken mod? What happens to sin x when we are taking box of x? What happens to sin x when we take box of the whole thing? So there are different kind of transformations which can be carried out through different types of electrical signals or through various methods. So when we are talking about electronics or electrical engineering, I keep talking about electronics and electrical engineering because that is my field, but these things are important in every field of engineering. So my point is that every time I want to study the behavior of sin x, I will have to use this kind of circuit. This circuit will require some money, some human efforts, some time, some resources. So to reduce all that time and resources and human effort, we study the concept of transformation of graphs. Okay. So when it comes to the mathematical study of transformation of graphs, there are various types of transformations which are possible, but we will study only 4 basic types of transformations. The first one is translation or shifting of the function or of the graph along x-axis or y-axis. Second one is forcing modulus. We will see all the transformations in detail also, but I am just listing them down. The third one is changing frequency or amplitude. Changing frequency or amplitude of the graph. Usually in trigonometric. This kind of transformation is forced usually in trigonometric functions. And fourth one that we will study is forcing box. Forcing box means y equal to fx to be transformed as y equal to f of box x or box of f of x or box of f of box x or box of y equal to fx, etc. We can clearly see that the function becomes 0 when input becomes 0. So the very first time this input will get 0 at x equal to a, that will be x equal to a. So this function will start from x equal to a. And function takes maximum when the input is a. So for this input to become a, this x has to become 2a. So we can clearly see this function will behave like this. And at x equal to 3a, this function will take input as 2a, and at input 2a, f produces 0. So it has to behave like this. And this will be a. We can clearly see if anything is being subtracted from the input, anything positive is being subtracted from the input, this function, this graph translates in positive direction of x-axis. So we can interpret that if function is transformed as y equal to f of x plus a, this graph would be translated along x-axis in the negative direction. Similarly, if I want to do this transformation, which is y plus k equal to fx, k is positive. So y plus k equal to fx is nothing but y equal to fx minus k. So every value that function was producing on y-axis now gets reduced by k. Please check. This is minus k because at x equal to 0, the graph was producing 0. Now 0 is reduced as 0 minus k. So 0 minus k, which is minus k. Okay, a is reduced to a minus k. The maximum value was reduced to a minus k. And this is again at minus k. So we can see that whenever y is transformed, whenever a constant is being added or subtracted to y, the graph is shifting or translating along y-axis. Whenever there is a constant added or subtracted in x, the function will translate or shift along x-axis. So we can summarize. And write that if A is positive, if K is positive, then y equal to f of x minus A. Forward shifting, forward along x-axis. Similarly, if we have y equal to f of x minus k, then it is shifting downwards. Similarly, when we are writing y equal to fx plus k, it is shifting upwards. So this is first kind of transformation of graph, which is translation or shifting of graph along x-axis or along y-axis.